Good day, students. I hope you are doing great today. This time, we will have a new lesson about multiplying and dividing simple fractions. But before that, let's have to try to recall first our first lesson until lesson 4. So we need this in order for you to easily uh, have the correct answer or the final answer for your answer in multiplying and dividing fraction. So let's have a review in simplifying fraction. So we know already that the one in the numerator is and the one in the top and the one in the bottom is your denominator. And to simplify fraction, you have to reduce it to simplest form using the GCF or the greatest common factor. For example, I have there 4 over 8. You just have to divide it by 4 because the GCF is 4. And use the GCF to divide, to simplify the fraction, and the final answer is 1/2. Next is converting fraction. So remember that when you convert fraction, you have to understand first what is a mixed number and what is improper fraction. So mixed number is a whole combined with a fraction, and then improper fraction is a fraction with a numerator larger than the denominator. So let's try converting improper fraction to mixed number. Again, to do that, you just have to divide 11 to 2, the numerator to your denominator. So 11 divided by 2, we have 5. So 5 times 2 minus 10, 1, and then you have that answer. Okay? So 5 remainder 1. So you have to write your 5 with the remainder 1 over the denominator 2. So how to do that? So it's supposed to be like that. So your whole number is your answer there, which is 5, and then your remainder will be your numerator already. And just copy the denominator from the given. Okay? Okay. And in changing mixed numbers into improper fraction, remember to take the whole number times the denominator and then add e to the numerator and place over the denominator. How to do that? You can just multiply 4 times 3 plus 2. Or you can have 3 times 4 plus 2. And then over 3. Always remember that it should be with an over 3 over the denominator. So some of you forgot about the denominator and they just answered 14. So please be reminded on this. So again, we will discuss about multiplying and dividing fraction. But we will be focusing on your lesson 7, in which that is multiplying simple fractions. So let's make fractions our friends because this time that will be easy. Let's welcome Frankie, your new classmates. Okay, so let's get ready to learn new stuff. So this is the part 1, multiplying simple fractions. So let's focus first on multiplying. So I know you are not a big fan of fractions, but I have some good news when it comes to multiplying them. Okay? Yes, it's a good news. So what if I told you that when we multiply fractions, we don't have to worry about making denominators or making common denominators. So this is totally different from how we add fractions, okay? Okay. So let's have an example of modeling in multiplying fractions. So modeling for this one. So what if I will say, what is 1/2 of 1/3? 1/2 of 1/3. Automatically, if you can hear the word of, that means it's multiplication. Okay? That means it is a multiplication. So it's 1/2 times 1/3. So how are you going to do that? We have 1/3, right? Okay, 1/2 of 1/3 man. That means you have 1/3. So I have there 1/3 in the illustration. I have there 1/3 because I shade one part out of 3. And we take half of it. Am I correct? So I only have to take half of it. but only the half shaded part. So what is that shaded part? Only that one. Half of the shaded part. Because I mentioned earlier, one half of my one third. And the one third is, the shaded part is only one. Okay? So I have to get half of it. So that means that is my half. The one with the color red. This one. So that's my half of my one third. That means 1/2 times 1/3 is equals to 1/6. But how did I do that? So very easy. When we multiply fractions, we just use the multiplication symbol like that. Or we can also use the dot or the parentheses. And to multiply fractions, we just multiply the numerator and the denominator. So just easy as that. You just have to multiply the one in the numerator and then multiply the one in the denominator. So unlike the adding and subtracting fractions, we have to have a similar denominators so that we can easily add or subtract them, right? In multiplying fraction, as long as it is in fraction form, we can easily multiply them together. Okay? Again, it's easy for us to multiply because we just have to multiply the numerator separately and multiply the denominator separately. We no need for us to have a similar fractions. And if in case we have a similar fractions, you have to multiply both the numerator and the denominator. Unlike in adding and subtracting, di ba, usually we try to copy it. For example, I have here 1/2 plus 2 over 2. We add the one in the numerator and the one in the denominator, we just copy it. But in multiplying fraction, we don't copy lang that one, ha. Even if they are the same, we just have to always, even if they are the same, we just have to multiply them together. For example, this one, 1 times 2, it's 2, and then 2 times 2, it's 4. So we really need to multiply the numerator and the denominator. Okay, no copying of denominators already in multiplying fraction. I hope that is clear. So let's have some example again. So you have there 1/3 times 2/5. Again, you just have to multiply the numerator, which is 1 and 2, and then multiply the one in the denominator, 3 and 4. No need for us to look for common denominators already. So even if they are different, similar or dissimilar, you multiply the denominator. Forget about the LCD and LCM, etc. Okay? So this time, our answer is 2 in the numerator. And in the denominator, we have 3 times 5. So of course, our answer is 15. So our final answer is 2 over 15. But always check to be sure that the product is simplified. So from what we have there, 2 over 15, 2 over 15 is already simplified in lowest term. That means the GCF of 2 and 15 is only 1. So that means there is no need for us to simplify it. So I hope that gives you interest already. And let's try to continue in example number 2. So 3/4 times 5 over 6. So how are we going to do that? You just have to multiply the one in the numerator and multiply the one in the denominator. This time our answer is 15 over 24. So don't forget to simplify your answer. Is this already in simplified form? No, not yet. This is not in simplified form yet because the GCF is more than 1. What do you think now is the GCF? The GCF is actually 3. Okay, so you just have to divide it by both the numerator and denominator to 3. So the answer now is 5/8. That 5/8 now is our final answer. Let's have example number 3. How about 7 halves times 3/5? So, very simple, no? Very easy. The answer is 21 over 10. Again, the answer is 21 over 10. We just have to multiply the numerator and multiply the denominator, which is 21 and 10, respectively. This time, you now have 21 over 10. And as you all know, I want all your answers simplified in lowest term, and it should also be in mixed number form. So how to do this in mixed number form? So 21 divided by 10, the answer is 2 and 1/10. Okay, remember how to do the mixed number. So multiply the following. So you will have to include this in your formative assessment. So, I will state there to answer this. Okay, this is part of your formative assessment. Now, let's discuss this crafty cross-canceling. Okay, so let's look at a method called cross-canceling. So, we call this one as cross-canceling. Okay, using the previous problem earlier. So, we have 3/8 times 2/3. So, actually, when we say cross-canceling, step 1 for that is you just have to look at the numbers across from each other, diagonal numbers. So we have 3 times 3. We also have 8 times 2 there, right? So cross canceling. So see if those numbers have GCF more than 1, and then if so, divide each number by the GCF. So from earlier, what is the GCF of 3 and 3? So diagonal man. So we have 3 times 3 and 2 and 8. So what is our GCF of 3 and 3? So the GCF is actually 3. So then therefore, you have to divide both sides by 3. Okay? Both cross the numerator, the one in the numerator and the one in the denominator to 3. Okay, so we have 3 and 3. So 3 divided by 3, it's 1. And 3 divided by 3, it's 1. That's why we place 1 there. How about the GCF of 2 and 8? The GCF is actually 2. Then therefore, you have to divide 2 to both of this. Okay? So 2 divided by 2, it's 1. And then 8 divided by 2, it's 4. So therefore, we now have 1 times 1. And then in the denominator is 4 times 1. And then our answer is 1/4. So your answer is already simplified in lowest term. Unlike earlier, no, the result earlier is 6/24. Okay, so I don't know if we used this one earlier. No, I think it's not. But you can see there, no, it's 6/24. It's not simplified in lowest term. Unlike if we do the cross-canceling, it is already in lowest term. And you don't have to deal with bigger numbers when you do multiplying. Okay. So let's try to do the standard method earlier, and let's try to have the crafty cross-canceling. Right? So let's start first with the standard method where we just multiply the numbers. So 5 times 9, what's the answer? It's 45. And then 12 times 20, it's 240. So this time, you have to simplify pa that one. How to simplify that? We have to divide it by 3. So 45 divided by 3, it's 15. 240 divided by 3, it's 80. Diba? We are, in cases like this, we are dealing with bigger numbers. So if we deal with bigger numbers, sometimes it's hard for us to multiply numbers, right? And it's hard for us to simplify also our answer to lowest term. So aside from dividing it by 3, actually the GCF is not actually 3. It's actually 15. But as I have said before, we can do it slowly, right? We divide it by 3 because we can see that we can divide it by 3. This time, how about 15/80? Diba? We can still divide it by 5. So if we divide it by 5, both the numerator and denominator, 15 divided by 3, the 15 divided by 5, it's 3. And then 80 divided by 5, it's 16. See how complicated if we deal with bigger numbers and we don't use the cross-canceling? Okay, let's try to have now the cross-canceling method. So we have the same problem, 5/12 times 9/20. So how are we going to do that? So we can see here, if we do the cross-canceling, 5 and 20, the GCF for that one, it's actually 5. So we can divide 5 to 5, and we can divide 20 also to 5. So 5 divided by 5, it's equal to 1. And then 20 divided by 5, it's equal to 4. How about now 9 and 20? What is the GCF of 9 and 20? It's actually 3. So 9 divided by 3, the answer is 3. And then 12 divided by 3, the answer is 4. I hope that is clear. And we can easily multiply now the fraction. Okay, so we now have 1/4 times 3/4. So when we multiply that one, we can get the correct answer, 3/16. Okay, so see, cross-canceling is more easy than the standard method, especially if you are dealing with bigger numbers. So for your part 2, this time we will focus on dividing simple fractions. Okay, let's try to have the dividing simple fraction. Okay, so we have here 8 divided by 2. We know that 8 divided by 2 means how many 2's are there in 8, right? So how many 2's are there in 8? So what are we gonna do? You have to present a model 8 pieces of, like that, rectangles, for example. Right? Usually, if we have 8 rectangle, di ba? You said man 8 divided by 2, so you have to group it by 2. So group it by 2, 2, 2, 2. So I grouped them together by 2 already. So what are we gonna do next? We have to count how many groups we have. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. That means we have 4 groups. Okay? 4 groups of 2. That means the answer is 4. So now how about in dealing with fraction? Let's try a fraction. For example, 4 divided by 1/2. What does it mean? So the same thing in the first problem earlier. So we have, that means how many 1/2s are there in 4? So you have to create, just like here, we create 8 rectangles. So we now have to create also 4 rectangles. So I have there 4 rectangles. But you have to group them by halves. That means I have to divide my rectangle to half and group them. So group them by halves. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there are 8 halves altogether, right? So there are 8 groups of 1/2. So that is how we answer about fraction. But how about if we are only dealing with numbers or fractions only, no modeling? So the product of a fraction and its reciprocal or the multiplicative inverse is equal to 1. So when we multiply the I, for example, 1/2 to its reciprocal, what is the reciprocal of 1/2? It's 2 over 1. The answer daw, it's equal to 1. And we can confirm it from there, right? The answer is 2 over 2, and we know that 2 over 2, it's 1. Okay, so to make a reciprocal, you just have to flip the fraction upside down. Okay? So what's the first step in dividing simple fraction? The first step is you have to rewrite the fraction form. You have to rewrite everything in fraction form. But this time, since we're not dealing with mixed number, we're not going to use that one first. Okay? Second is you have to multiply the reciprocals. Keep it, change it, and flip it method. You use that one, okay? And then simplify your final answer. Again, you don't have to find common denominators. Always remember that you don't have to find now common denominators because we are not dealing anymore with adding and subtracting fractions. So don't get confused. Okay? So let's have, again, always remember that when we divide fraction, don't be shy, flip the second and multiply. Again, don't be shy, flip the second and multiply. Okay? So let's have some example. Example number 1. So keep the first one, change the symbol, keep it, change it, flip it. So flip the 3 over 1 there, the 1/3. So that becomes 3 over 1 already. I hope that is clear. This time, you know how to do this already. It's multiplying. Always remember that you have to keep the first, keep it, change this to multiplication, and then flip it. This one, 1/3. Okay, so your answer now is 3/2. So 3/2, that means 1 and 1/2. Always remember to simplify your answer, and as much as possible, if it's improper fraction, you have to make that one or convert that one into mixed number. Second example, 3/2 divided by 3/4. How to do that? So 3/2, keep it, change it, so it's multiplication now, and then flip it. Do the reciprocal of 3/4. That is 4 over 3. So then multiply. So 3 times 4. Oops. Do we have to multiply? Try to do first the canceling method. Cross-canceling. So cross-canceling first, we have 3 and 3. So cancel both sides. That becomes 1 and then 1. Okay, cancel both sides because they are just the same. Or the GCF of that one, it's 3. So 3 divided by 3, it's 3. And 3 divided by 3 here, it's 1. Sorry, 3 divided by 3, it's 1. And 3 divided by 3 here, it's 1. And then, for this one, the GCF, it's 2. So 4 divided by 2. 4 divided by 2, it's 2. And then 4 divided by 1, it's 1. Your final answer now is 2 over 1. What do you mean by 2 over 1? Whole number 2. So your answer here is whole number 2. How about number 3? Again, you have to keep, change it, and then flip 3 halves. That becomes 2/3. Now this time, we can cancel 3 there. And then, we can multiply now. So, 1 times 2, it's 2. 5 times 1, it's 5. So, the answer is 2/5. I hope this is clear. Let's have number 4. 4/9 divided by 1/3. What is that? So, again, you just have to change the operation to multiplication and then flip your second one. It's 1/3. That becomes 3 over 1 already. So, this time, cross multiplication. So, or cross-canceling, sorry. So, cross-canceling, what is the GCF of 4 and 1? No, nothing. So, just the same. How about the GCF of 3 and 9? It's actually 3. So, divide it by 3, both. So, 3 divided by 3, it's 1. 9 divided by 3, it's 3. Okay, and then the answer is 4 over 3. Again, your 4 over 3 is improper fraction. If it's improper, what to do again? Convert that one to mixed number. Very good. It's 1 and 1/3. How about number 5? Let's have 7. 4 divided by 7 divided by 4 over 7 divided by 16 over 9. Again, you have to keep the first one, change the operation, and do the reciprocal of the second one. So, 16 over 9, that means 9 over 16. So, there is a GCF here. For 4 and 16, the GCF, it's 4. So, 4 divided by 4, it's 1. And then 16 divided by 4, it's 4. So, multiply now. What is left? 1 times 9, it's 9. 7 times 4, it's 28. That is already simplified in lowest term. How about number 6? 15 over 8 divided by 12 over 5. What are we gonna do? You have to change the operation and flip the fraction in the second fraction. Okay, so we now have 5 over 12. So this time, there's no GCF for 8 and 5, but there is a GCF for 15 and 12. And that is actually 3. So 15 divided by 3, it's 5. 12 divided by 3, it's 4. Then multiply that one together. 25 over 32. That is already simplified in lowest term. And that is the end of the presentation. I hope you learned something today. Okay, in your next video, you will be learning about multiplying and dividing mixed number. Okay? Thank you and goodbye, everyone.